Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be a February reading wrap up. I didn't mean to disappear for 2 weeks, so I will explain why in a second, but for now let's just get started because I have a lot of books to talk about. The first book I finished this month is a book that I finished during the reading only romance books for a week challenge that I did. This was my favorite out of the whole books I've read in that week, and it's The Favorites by Laine Fargo. This is a book about following two figure skaters. We are following them from their childhood to their 40s, I think, or 30s in the book. The book is not just about the romance, it's about the drama, about the figure skating world, relationships between everyone, not just our main characters, was like very realistic and very real, and I just loved seeing all those characters and seeing where they ended up. And I got to care about so many of them, even though we had so many characters in the beginning. I've gotten to know all of them, and all of them had their own voice. They felt like real people, and I absolutely love this book. I've seen this one compared to what's it called? I see this one compared to this book that I'm thinking about, but I forgot the name of. I will put it on the screen. And I had no interest in reading that book, but since I've seen it compared to that one, I will definitely pick it up soon. The next book I picked up in that same reading challenge is The Lights in the Dark by Mikhail Shishkin. I picked up this book because I've seen that it's an epistolary novel that is about two people who are in love, but they are separated not only by time but also by not only physically but also by time. So I was kind of intrigued how that would work out, but I just could not get into the story. I read, I think, 33 pages or something. I know I did not give it that much of a chance, but I was not feeling it. I just kept like forcing myself to read it, even though this book is quite short. I just was not feeling it, and I know a lot of people love it. I'm just not in the I'm in the minority here. I did not enjoy it, unfortunately. The next book I've read, still in that same reading challenge, is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This one follows our main character who has this deformity in her hand. Like, she has a really small hand, and she meets up on a Halloween party. She meets up with this guy in her friend's party. She meets up with this guy, and he has an amputated leg, and they just make a joke on she has small hand, he has amputated hands, and they ended up hooking up. And she then figured like the next chapter, she realizes that she's pregnant, so she reaches out to him. So this part is the one that kind of just took me out of the story, because I feel like it was kind of done, like the first few chapters, like 5 chapters or something, just make the characters look pretty dumb and unlikable. So even when it got better in like over five chapters in, like when she moved in with him, like the story got better, but I just couldn't give it like 5 stars because I just didn't feel like it was the best book out there because of the way they started. And I know that's just my preference, because I personally don't like my books to, kind of like I personally like my romance books to have a bit of yearning in the beginning, and I feel like in this book it was kind of insta love. Like immediately they just were into each other, and I didn't feel any tension or anything. They were just into each other, and that was it. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I'm definitely going to read more from this author because this drop alone just didn't work for me. Next book I read is also a DNF, and that's Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This was one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and as soon as it came out, I picked it up in that same reading vlog. And I personally DNF'd it very soon because our main character is a diver, and she's like in the diving team, like I don't know, college or something, and she has a best friend. Her best friend just broke up with her boyfriend that they've been with. She has been with like her best friend has been with that guy for like over 5 years or something. And I know that our main character will end up with her best friend's ex, and I know I would not enjoy that. So why keep going reading something that I just simply would not enjoy? So I put it down. And it's unfortunate because I haven't been having that much of a luck with Ali Hazelwood's books. Usually I used to love her books. Like I have so many favorites from her that I absolutely love, but her newest release just did not work for me. Like the two that she came out with last year and this one again, I just don't like any of them, and I I know it's kind of a shame that, because I was looking forward to that one, and I ended up not liking it. The next book I picked up is not a romance, because we're done with romance for this month, and I picked up Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I have been saving this book for a few years right now, and I don't know why, because this was amazing. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. Let me explain to you this book, because this is a fantasy, and I find fantasy books a little bit difficult to explain, but I will do my best to explain it. So we're following our main character, who is becoming a high mage, because in this world they don't let women become high mages. Like every few years, like 10 years or so, they open one position for a woman, and if she fails, they say, well, then that's the reason why we don't let women becoming high mages, because they're just not good enough. And she feels so much pressure to become high mage, because she feels responsible for all the women coming after her, and all the women that are looking up to her. She has to do her best, and she does end up getting in. This is not a spoiler, this happens in the very beginning. She does end up becoming high mage, and then she kind of realizes what is the magic that they are doing, where do they get the power from. I think this book opens a lot of conversation on like stealing resources from other people's lands, and then acting as if you are doing a favor to those people that you stole from. And obviously that is a prevalent thing in real life, and I loved how this book handles this whole conversation, this whole topic. And I think this book is a really good conversation starter, and it would be a perfect book club read, because you would have so many things to talk about, because it tackles so many different topics, like real issues in our real world, but then spinning them into this fantasy world. And it has kind of an open ending, but I think this ending was perfect for this book. I know this book was very thick. I wished it had more, and I know this is a standalone, so there's no more books in this series or more books in this world, but I really love this book. If you have never read this book or have never heard of it, you should definitely pick it up. I was hooked from the very first page. Usually for fantasy books, for me at least, I find it difficult to kind of understand the world, or like understand the magic system and everything, but this one I was hooked, and I was like very into this story from the very first page, and I cared about the characters so much. The next book I picked up was for a failed reading vlog. I wanted to do like a 24-hour reading vlog, but I was picking books based on some prompts that I gave myself. This reading vlog has failed because I couldn't find an empty 24 hours. Every single time I start one, something happens and I end up working the whole 24 hours without actually reading anything. So I just read these books without posting anything about them. So the first book I picked up in that vlog is The Guest by Emma Cline. I don't remember when I added this book or why I added it, and when I picked it up I just could not finish it. The end of this book, and let me tell you why I DNF'd it and what this book is based on the few pages that I've read. Basically, this book is about our main character who has no personality, she has no life, she has absolutely nothing going on for her, and she is in a relationship with this much older man, and I think she breaks his car or something, and he basically tells her to leave. So she goes out and she just starts just pretending, meeting random people and pretending that she is like people that she isn't. For example, she meets up this group of girls and guys, and she realizes that they don't know each other. They're all like saying hi to one another, like they have like mutual friends, but they don't know each other personally. And so she pretended that she is a part of the group. She introduced herself, and like she pretend like they didn't question her, like, who are you, like, what are you doing here? They just assumed that she is someone's friend that is coming along. And there was this scene where she gets confronted by the girls in that group. They tell her, we actually don't know who you are. Who are you here with? And she says, I'm here with Kyle or something. And they told her, okay, well, what's Kyle's last name? And she doesn't know his last name. But then the scene just cuts off right there. Like, we don't see what happened next. We just see her like moving on to a different kind of person and pretending to be someone else. But I just feel like there was nothing that the story was leading up to. Like there was nothing that I was looking forward to reading, because she feels like different people. This character just is impersonating different people and just being alive without actually having any goal or anything to like add to the story. Her whole goal is to wait until like this party, and so that she can go back to her older boyfriend, but that just didn't feel enough for me to keep going with the story. The next book I also ended up DNFing, also in the same video, and it's The House of Doors by Tan Xuan Eng. I don't know anything about this book. Even when I did start it, I don't know what it's about. All I know is that this is a historical fiction based off of real events, and we're following this author who is we're following his author who is, I think, gay, and he is like, or maybe this man who is gay and with another woman. I don't know. I don't understand. Like I was reading, but then the words were going. I just was not like getting anything from the story. I don't know if it was because I was tired or anything, or whatever. I don't know if it was because I was tired or something, but I just could not focus on the story. I don't know what it is about, and I have no interest in knowing what it's about, so I ended up DNFing into that one as well. Next book I picked up is a psalm, I'm not sure if it's a psalm or something, A Psalm for the White-Built by Becky Chambers. This is the first book in the Monk and Robot series. This is a sci-fi, but I think it's more of fantasy sci-fi, like cozy fantasy, cozy sci-fi, because although I loved the conversations between the robots and the monk, I feel like this book was so underdeveloped. This was very short, but I think this book would have benefited from if it were a little bit longer, if it explained things a little bit more, because the world was not explained in this book. Like we know that this is set in the far future, or maybe near future, whatever, where robots just decided that they don't want to serve humans anymore, so they just get up and leave, and they go to the wilderness. But we don't know why. We don't know like what kind of world these robots or these people were living in, and why they decided to leave. We never get any answers. I don't feel like we didn't get any answers. It was just about a monk and robots having a conversation, and I feel like I was interested more in learning about the world before getting to the conversation part. But but it just didn't work for me. Like I'm not going to continue with the series, so I gave this one 3.5 stars, or maybe 3 stars. It was okay, but I don't think it's the best book out there. Like it definitely needed a little bit more. It could have been better in my opinion, but it was. The next book I attempted to read, I also ended up DNFing it, but not because I didn't like it though. I ended up this was for the other failed reading vlog, and that was supposed to be my my non-fiction reading challenge that I do, but I'm gonna pick Paper from Jar. I ended up picking A Walk in the Woods by Bale Bryson. I was excited for this one because I've been craving the wilderness and nature, and I was excited for this one to learn more about the Appalachian Trail. But the copy that I had on my phone was messed up. Like I started reading, I think like I was like a third of the way through, and then I reached a sentence and I realized that I have already read this sentence. It feels like I've already read this, and I skipped that page because it felt like I was already read it, and the next page is exactly like the one I just skipped, and the next page again is the exact same one. So my copy had a lot of duplicate pages, so I just obviously could not read it because my copy is messed up. I put that paper back in the jar because I definitely still want to pick that book up, and I was very excited to read it, but unfortunately I couldn't. But I will pick it up whenever I have a better copy or something that isn't messed up. So instead I picked up this one. It's my newest addition to my bookshelf, and it's The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This one was nominated for the Women's Booker Prize in 2022 and the 2021 Booker Prize. So this book has a lot of good ratings. I'm not that far into it. I picked this one up because I couldn't get my my wilderness thing from the previous book, so I picked this one up because I want to feel like I'm in here. Like it was this one, I'm still in the middle of it, so I can't tell you exactly what I think of it. So these are all the books that I finished and DNF this month. Obviously I had a lot of ups and downs in this month, a lot of favorites but also a lot of not so favorites. And for the next month I will not be posting as I usually do. Like I usually attempt to post once a week, except for this month. But for the next month I will not be posting as much, so hopefully I will go back to my usual posting schedule in April. But I will not disappear completely. I will definitely post something, just not once a week. And I will see you in another video very soon, and goodbye.